An alien fleet was doomed until humanity arrived to help. The alien fleet drifted through the dark emptiness of space, and the silence was heavy. Ships, tall and sleek, glided one after another, their engines burning weakly. The once powerful fleet was tired and broken. Many of the ships had already been damaged in battles that seemed to last forever. Sparks fell from broken panels, and the air inside some of the smaller ships smelled of burnt circuits. The soldiers moved slowly. Even their machines seemed tired. Admiral Cora stood on the bridge of her flagship. She was tall, with gray skin that shimmered under the dim lights. Her eyes were deep, like pools of liquid metal, and she stared at the main screen with sharp focus. The screen showed the enemy fleet ahead, a mass of ships moving like a dark storm. Cora had seen many battles, but none like this. The enemy was larger, faster, and more organized than anything the alien coalition had faced before. "Status report," Cora said. Her voice was calm, but there was an edge to it. Commander Vex, her second in command, turned from the console. "We have lost another cruiser, Admiral. Shields are failing on 3 more. The enemy fleet is closing fast. At this rate, we will be surrounded in less than 30 standard cycles." Cora's eyes did not move from the screen. She did not flinch. "And the jump signature, any sign of reinforcements?" Vex shook his head. "Nothing, Admiral. No friendly ships in range. No signals." "It appears we are completely alone." Cora clenched her fists. Alone. That word had never sounded so sharp. Alone meant death or worse, capture. She had spent decades building this fleet, training these crews, leading them through countless battles, and now it might end here, in the black emptiness of space. The fleet ahead was enormous. Thousands of ships moved like a single organism, black hulls glinting in the faint light of a dying star. Their weapons glowed with a dangerous red energy. Every ship in Cora's fleet had to move carefully. One wrong step could destroy them all. She turned to the communications officer. "Send a warning to all ships. Prepare for evasive maneuvers. Every ship, every pilot, every soldier, do not panic. Do you understand?" The officer nodded quickly. "Yes, Admiral, warning sent." Cora walked slowly across the bridge. She looked at her officers and crew, all of them tense, all of them afraid. She did not blame them. Fear was natural, even for the strongest of aliens. But she could not let fear take over. If the fleet fell apart here, it would not only be their lives that were lost, but the lives of everyone who depended on them in the outer systems. Suddenly, the main screen flickered. A new reading appeared. A jump signature. It was strange, different from anything the sensors had seen before. "Admiral," the tactical officer said, his voice low, "there is a ship, or a small fleet jumping in. Coordinates unknown. It is moving fast. Unknown design, not part of our coalition." Not part of the enemy fleet either. Cora's eyes narrowed. Could it be reinforcements? Vex shook his head. Unlikely. Reinforcements would have been announced. The transmission systems would have picked them up. This is something else. The bridge fell silent. Everyone watched the main screen, waiting. They did not move. Time seemed to slow. Then the unknown ships appeared, small but fast. They moved with precision, weaving between damaged ships of the alien fleet. Their hulls were not black like the enemy's. They were lighter, metallic gray, and strangely angled. The weapons on these ships did not glow red. They glowed blue and fired in bursts that seemed strange and almost random, but effective. Admiral Cora's heart raced. "Who are they?" she whispered, though she already feared the answer. The tactical officer shook his head. "Unknown, Admiral. They are fighting the enemy fleet, not attacking us." For a moment, no one moved. The unknown ships darted between the lines of alien ships, firing at the enemy, dodging fire with impossible speed. Several enemy ships were destroyed, their hulls torn apart by precise shots. One of the smaller alien cruisers, which had been drifting and ready to explode, was saved by the new ships. The unknown pilots guided it out of danger, helping it escape. Cora felt something she had not felt in many cycles. Hope. Signal them, Cora ordered. Identify yourselves, tell us your purpose. The communications officer frowned. Admiral, they are not responding. No standard codes recognized. They seem human. The word human echoed in her mind. She had read about humans in old history files, in stories from other civilizations. They were small, fragile creatures from a distant planet. Most of the galaxy thought humans were weak, unpredictable, and dangerous only in small numbers. Cora had never believed they could survive this far in space, let alone come to help. Yet here they were, fighting with skill, bravery, and speed that no other species could match. Cora walked to the front of the bridge, leaning over the railing. She watched as one human ship dove into the enemy lines, drawing fire away from a damaged cruiser. Another human pilot, moving almost recklessly, guided a wounded enemy ship into the path of its own fleet, causing confusion and chaos among the enemy. The bridge erupted with murmurs. Some officers whispered about luck, about chance, about impossible odds. But Cora did not see luck. She saw skill, courage, and determination. They are different, she said quietly, more to herself than anyone else. They fight not for power, but for others. Vex frowned. Admiral, they are putting themselves in danger. If they are destroyed, Cora shook her head. If they are destroyed, they will die as heroes, but if they succeed, they may save us all. The enemy fleet, sensing something strange, paused. They had never faced humans before. They had faced every known species in the galaxy, each with its own strengths and weaknesses. But humans were unpredictable. Their movements, their tactics, and their willingness to risk everything confused the enemy commanders. They did not know how to fight them. On the bridge, Cora felt a spark of relief. Not victory, not yet, but hope. Something she had not felt in many cycles. Hope was powerful. It could change the outcome of a battle before a single shot was fired. She turned to Vex. Prepare the fleet for coordinated maneuvers with the humans. Even if we do not know their language, even if we cannot communicate, we must follow their lead. Survival depends on it. Vex hesitated. Admiral, we do not know them. This could be a trap. They could be working for the enemy. Then it is a trap we take, Cora interrupted sharply. Better to die with them than to die alone. Send orders to all ships. Follow the humans. Protect them where you can. Fight where you must. The bridge crew hurried to carry out her orders. Messages flew across the fleet. Lights blinked on damaged ships, engines roared to life, and soldiers prepared for the fight that could decide the fate of their people. Outside, the human ships continued their strange, daring attacks. One pilot in a small fighter ship launched straight into a group of enemy bombers. He twisted, turned, and fired, hitting one bomber after another, while dodging shots that would have destroyed a larger vessel. On the main screen, the crew could see the human ship shatter enemy formations. Cora's lips curved into a small smile. This is incredible," she whispered. "These creatures, they are fighting not for glory but for life, for others. Perhaps humans are stronger than we thought." The enemy, now disoriented, fired at random. Ships collided, weapons misfired, and the once perfect enemy lines fell apart. The alien fleet, inspired by the humans, began to fight with renewed courage. Where before there was despair, now there was determination. For the first time in many cycles, Cora allowed herself to hope. The fleet might survive. The soldiers might live. And maybe, just maybe, these humans, these small, fragile, unpredictable beings, would change the course of history. The battle was not over. The enemy was still strong, still deadly, still vast. But the arrival of the humans had shifted the balance. And in the endless dark of space, hope flickered like a tiny star, waiting to grow into something much greater. Cora stood tall on the bridge, eyes fixed on the strange, daring humans who had appeared from nowhere. She did not know if she would ever understand them. She did not know if they would survive. But one thing was certain. When humanity arrived, the fate of the alien fleet was no longer sealed. And somewhere deep inside her, Admiral Cora felt the first spark of something she had not felt in decades: trust. The battle raged on. The alien fleet, once broken and hopeless, now moved with renewed energy. The humans were not just helping, they were showing how to fight. Their ships weaved through the enemy lines, striking where it hurt the most. Every shot seemed carefully placed, every maneuver precise. Commander Alex Morgan led the humans from the front. His ship was small compared to the massive alien cruisers, but it moved like lightning. He dodged enemy fire with skill that no one expected. Each time he appeared in the enemy fleet, chaos followed. Ships collided, weapons misfired, and the enemy struggled to respond. "Keep up the attack," Morgan shouted over the comms. "Don't let them reorganize, push them back." Pilot Laura Bennett flew beside him, her smaller fighter spinning in tight loops. She hit an enemy bomber squarely in the engine, sending it spinning into another enemy ship. "Got it," she called, voice calm but focused. One down, two more distracted. In the alien fleet, Admiral Cora watched the humans with amazement. She could not communicate directly with them yet, but their actions were clear. They were fighting to save lives, not for glory or power. The humans did not wait for orders. They acted on their own, thinking faster than any alien commander she had ever known. "Tell all ships to follow their patterns," Cora said to Vex. "We do not know their language, but we can follow their moves. Use their timing and angles, copy their maneuvers." Vex hesitated but obeyed. The alien ships began to mimic the humans, moving in ways they had never been trained to do. The fleet no longer advanced slowly and cautiously. Now they twisted, turned, and struck in unpredictable ways. Enemy ships, which had once seemed unstoppable, started to fall. Engineer John Carter worked frantically in the human command ship. Sparks flew from damaged panels as he patched broken systems. "We are losing shields on the starboard side," he shouted. "If we do not stabilize the energy flow, the hull will breach." Morgan gritted his teeth. "Do it, I don't care how, keep us flying." Carter pressed buttons and rerouted energy. The ship shook violently as explosions nearby rocked the hull. Alarms blared. Smoke filled the control room, but Carter's hands were steady. In a few tense minutes, the shield stabilized. The ship, battered but still in control, moved back into the fight. The enemy fleet had begun to notice the strange humans. They were faster than anything they had faced, unpredictable and fearless. Enemy commanders tried to adjust their strategies, but every plan failed. Whenever they thought they could trap a human fighter, it slipped away, striking at the enemy's weakest points. One massive enemy cruiser advanced toward the alien flagship, firing deadly beams of energy. Cora felt the ship tremble as her shields flared. "Hold position," she commanded. "We will not retreat." A small human fighter dove between the cruiser and Cora's flagship. Its tiny weapons struck the enemy's weak points. Explosions rocked the massive ship, forcing it to veer off course. Cora could barely believe her eyes. A small, fragile ship had saved her entire fleet. "This is incredible," she whispered. "These humans, they are changing the battle." In another part of the fight, Laura Bennett guided her fighter through a cluster of enemy bombers. They fired relentlessly, but her movements were too fast to track. She hit one bomber after another, each strike precise. One bomber exploded, sending debris into the enemy formation. Another followed, and soon the enemy group was in chaos. "Nice work," Morgan said over the comms. "Keep them moving. Don't give them a chance to regroup." Meanwhile, back on the alien ships, soldiers watched in awe. Many had doubted that humans could fight at all. They had heard stories of humans being fragile, weak, and clumsy. Now they saw skill, courage, and quick thinking that no alien could match. Slowly, their fear began to fade. Slowly, they began to believe that victory might still be possible. Vex turned to Cora, eyes wide. "Admiral, their tactics, they are teaching us." "The humans, they are showing us how to fight," Cora nodded. "Yes, watch closely, learn from them. They are unpredictable, but we can adapt. The future of this fleet depends on it." The enemy commander, realizing the humans were a major problem, called for a retreat. "Focus on the humans," the commander shouted. "Destroy them first. Everything else can wait." But the humans were not so easy to defeat. Morgan's ship dodged a wave of missiles, then countered by disabling a massive enemy destroyer. Laura Bennett hit another cruiser, causing it to spin out of control. The enemy had no answers. Every attack failed. Every plan collapsed. In the alien fleet, morale improved dramatically. Where there had been fear and despair, now there was hope. Soldiers cheered as enemy ships exploded. Engineers worked faster, repairing damaged systems. Pilots pushed their ships to the limits, following the humans' lead. Cora felt a strange warmth. Hope had returned. It was dangerous, yes, because hope could be crushed. But it was also powerful. It inspired people to fight harder than they ever thought possible. The humans, however, were not invincible. One fighter took heavy fire. Smoke poured from the engine and sparks flew from the damaged hull. Laura Bennett struggled to keep control. She dodged missiles, flipped the fighter, and fired at an enemy cruiser. The enemy ship took heavy damage, but she had barely survived. Morgan called over the comms. "Laura, are you okay?" "I'm fine," she replied, though her voice was tense. "Just a scratch, let's keep moving." Another human fighter, piloted by a young woman named Sarah Miller, guided a damaged alien ship out of the fight. She ignored her own safety, putting the alien vessel first. The aliens stared in disbelief. No species had ever risked so much for others. Humans were not just skilled, they were willing to die to save lives. In the enemy fleet, frustration grew. "How can such small ships cause so much damage?" an enemy commander yelled. "They are only a handful, but they destroy our formations like nothing we've seen." Back on the alien flagship, Cora smiled faintly. "They fight for something we lost long ago, for others, not for themselves. That is their strength." The battle continued for many cycles. Human ships darted through the chaos, saving alien vessels, destroying enemy ships, and showing strategies that no one else could think of. Each strike, each maneuver changed the course of the fight. Slowly, the enemy fleet began to fall back. Vex turned to Cora, his voice full of wonder. "Admiral, we may actually survive this, because of them." Cora nodded. "Yes, and we will not forget it. The humans, they have shown us a new way to fight, a new way to live." As the last of the enemy ships retreated, the human and alien fleets regrouped. Fires burned on some alien ships and repair crews worked quickly. Pilots checked their fighters and cruisers. Everyone was exhausted but alive. Morgan's ship moved toward the alien flagship. He did not need to speak. Cora knew what he wanted, a sign of respect, a signal that the humans were allies, not strangers. She activated a small light pattern, a simple greeting in alien language. Morgan smiled. He responded with a simple human salute. For the first time, the alien fleet saw the humans not as strange, fragile creatures, but as heroes. Not just warriors, but saviors. They had come to a distant system, faced a powerful enemy, and risked everything to save lives they did not know. Cora walked across her bridge again, feeling a mix of relief and amazement. "Perhaps the galaxy has underestimated humans," she said quietly. "Perhaps they are stronger than any of us could imagine." The battle was over for now, but everyone knew it was only the beginning. The humans had arrived and they had changed everything. The alien fleet was no longer doomed. They had survived, not through numbers or power, but through courage, skill, and the willingness of humans to fight for others. Cora turned back to the viewport, watching the stars. Somewhere out there, beyond the chaos and the battles, humanity had made a choice. They had arrived when no one else would. They had risked everything. And in doing so, they had given the aliens hope and a second chance to survive. For the first time in many cycles, the fleet looked forward to the future. And the humans had only just begun to show what they could do. The alien fleet was no longer broken. Fires still burned on some ships and repair crews worked frantically, but the soldiers felt a new energy. For the first time in many cycles, hope guided their actions. They had survived a battle that seemed impossible, thanks to the humans. And now they needed to learn from them. Admiral Cora stood on the bridge of her flagship. Her gray eyes scanned the fleet, watching as alien pilots attempted maneuvers they had never practiced. Humans moved among them like sparks in the dark, leading them, guiding them, showing them how to fight in ways no alien had thought possible. Commander Alex Morgan watched from his small ship, weaving through the alien formations. He had learned quickly how to read alien tactics, how to anticipate enemy movements, and how to turn fear into strategy. Humans were not large or powerful in numbers, but they had creativity, courage, and the willingness to risk everything. "Alex, we need a plan," said pilot Laura Bennett, flying alongside him. "The enemy is regrouping. They won't give up easily." Morgan nodded. "I know, but we have something they don't expect. They think we are weak. They think small ships like ours cannot fight long or hard. We can use that." Back on the alien flagship, Cora gave her orders. "Form 3 squadrons, follow the humans' lead. We do not have their speed, but we have numbers. Together we can hit the enemy from all sides." Vex hesitated. "Admiral, are you sure?" "The humans' tactics are unpredictable. If we follow them too closely, we may be destroyed." Cora shook her head. "We must try. The humans showed us the way once. Now we adapt their tactics to our fleet. We cannot fight like before. We have no choice." The alien ships shifted, moving in ways they had never done. They twisted and turned in formation with the humans, learning how to strike with timing, how to dodge, and how to protect each other. Where before there had been hesitation, now there was confidence. The enemy fleet had not given up. They were larger, stronger, and faster in raw numbers, but they were rigid. They fought as they always had, following predictable patterns. The humans and the aliens, however, were changing the rules. Morgan's small ship dove into the center of the enemy formation. He fired precise bursts that destroyed a cruiser, then pulled back, weaving through the enemy fire like a shadow. Another human fighter followed, guiding a damaged alien vessel out of danger. "Keep it up," Morgan called over the comms. "We are not just fighting, we are teaching them. Show them how to move, how to strike, how to survive." Laura Bennett hit another enemy ship, her small fighter shaking from the recoil. "One down," she shouted. "Two more trying to flank us." Morgan adjusted their positions. "Take the left flank. Draw their attention. The aliens will hit from the right." On the alien flagship, Cora watched the plan unfold. Alien ships twisted around the enemy, cutting off escape routes and trapping their vessels. The humans darted through, striking weak points and guiding alien ships into strategic positions. The enemy was in chaos. In the center of the fight, a massive enemy battleship fired its cannons at the humans. The explosions rocked the smaller ships, sending one fighter spinning out of control. Pilot Sarah Miller struggled to regain control, flames licking the edges of her ship. Morgan saw her in trouble. "Hold on, Sarah, I'm coming." His ship darted through the fire, weaving between enemy lasers. He reached her just in time, using a quick maneuver to push her ship out of harm's way. "Thanks," she gasped. "I thought I was done for." "Don't thank me yet," Morgan said. "We are just getting started." Elsewhere, alien soldiers watched with growing admiration. They had always considered humans weak and unpredictable. Now they saw skill, bravery, and selflessness. Humans fought not for glory or rewards, but to save others. Every human pilot put themselves in danger to protect a single alien ship. Every human tactic seemed reckless, but it worked. Slowly, the aliens began to trust them. Slowly, they followed. Vex turned to Cora. "Admiral, they are showing us a new way to fight. We can win if we follow them." Cora nodded. "Yes, but be careful. Humans are powerful because they take risks. We cannot copy that fully. We must adapt. Learn from them, but do not rely on luck alone." The enemy, frustrated and confused, tried to regroup. They sent in waves of smaller ships to flank the humans, but the humans were ready. Laura Bennett and Sarah Miller led the attack, weaving through the enemy with impossible speed. The humans guided alien ships into ambushes, creating traps that no enemy commander had expected. One massive enemy cruiser charged toward the alien flagship, firing relentlessly. Cora felt the ship shake with every hit. Shields flared, sparks flew, and alarms screamed. Morgan's ship dove in front of the cruiser. He fired precise bursts at the engines, slowing it down just enough. Another human fighter hit the control systems, causing confusion in the enemy bridge. The massive cruiser spun out of control, crashing into its own fleet and causing chaos. Cora's eyes widened. Incredible, they are small, but they can control the battlefield. Vex shook his head. We have never seen anything like this. How can creatures so small do so much? Cora smiled faintly. It is not size that matters, it is courage, intelligence, and the willingness to protect others. Meanwhile, engineer John Carter worked on the human command ship, repairing damage from the earlier attacks. Sparks flew, alarms blared, and smoke filled the control room. But he did not stop. His hands moved quickly, rerouting power and stabilizing shields. Morgan watched him work. Good job, Carter, keep it steady. We are not done yet. The enemy fleet, realizing their largest ships were being destroyed, began to retreat. But they were not defeated. They regrouped and sent their fastest ships to chase the humans. Morgan looked at Laura Bennett and Sarah Miller. We need to slow them down. Lead them toward the aliens. The enemy cannot escape if we guide them. The human fighters weaved through the enemy, drawing them toward the alien fleet. Alien ships followed, prepared for the trap. When the enemy ships entered the range of the aliens, they were met with fire from multiple directions. The humans had taught the aliens to fight together, to strike as one, and it worked perfectly. Enemy ships exploded, one after another. The alien fleet, inspired and guided by the humans, was now a force to be reckoned with. Ships that had been damaged, weak, and hopeless earlier now moved with precision, striking in perfect harmony with the humans. Cora stood tall on the bridge. This is what I hoped for. Not just survival, but a new way to fight. Humans have shown us that courage and skill can overcome numbers and power. The battle continued for many cycles. Humans darted in and out, striking critical targets, saving alien ships and confusing the enemy. Every move was calculated, every risk intentional. The enemy could not predict them, could not adapt fast enough. Finally, after long cycles of fighting, the enemy began to retreat. The remaining ships fled into the darkness, broken, confused, and defeated. The alien fleet, though battered, had survived. They had survived because of the humans. Admiral Cora looked out at the stars, feeling a mix of relief and awe. We are alive because they chose to fight with us. Morgan's ship returned to the flagship, small and battered but intact. He saluted Cora. She returned the gesture, a silent acknowledgement of respect and gratitude. Alien soldiers whispered among themselves, talking about the humans who had saved them. They could not understand everything about them, but they understood courage, skill, and sacrifice. They understood that humans fought not for power, but for others. Cora turned to Vex. Remember this, Vex. Today, humans showed us a strength we never knew. Not strength of body, but strength of heart. We have learned from them, and we will survive because of it. Vex nodded. Yes, Admiral, and perhaps we will never underestimate humans again. Morgan looked at the fleet around him. He could see alien ships repairing, pilots preparing for the next battle, and soldiers standing tall. Humans had arrived, fought, and taught a lesson the galaxy would never forget. Laura Bennett and Sarah Miller exchanged tired smiles. We did it, Laura said softly. Morgan shook his head. No, they did it. We only guided them. They fought, they learned, and they survived. Humanity helped, but the aliens, they are ready to fight now. They have hope. The fleet moved together, humans and aliens alike, preparing for whatever might come next. They had survived one impossible battle. They had learned to trust each other, and now together they could face the galaxy with courage, strategy, and hope. The humans had arrived, and in doing so they had changed the fate of an entire alien fleet. The alien fleet had survived. Fires on the ships were being put out, shields were repaired, and soldiers moved with renewed confidence. The humans had shown them a new way to fight, and for the first time in many cycles, the fleet felt strong. But Admiral Cora knew the battle was far from over. The enemy was still out there, and they would not forget the humiliation of their last defeat. "Admiral," Vex said, walking up to the command deck, "we've detected enemy forces gathering beyond the nearby asteroid belt. They are larger than the last wave and faster." "They are not just retreating, they are regrouping for another attack." Cora's gray eyes narrowed. "How long until they reach us?" "3 cycles at their current speed," Vex replied. Cora took a deep breath. "Then we prepare. All ships, all pilots, all soldiers, get ready. This battle will be harder than the last, but we will not back down." Commander Alex Morgan watched the alien flagship from his small ship. His fighters had repaired minor damage and his crew was ready. "Laura, Sarah," he said, "we've seen what they can do. Now we test if the aliens have truly learned from us. We need to coordinate with them perfectly. Timing will be everything." Laura Bennett adjusted her controls. "Got it. Let's show them humans don't give up easily." Sarah Miller nodded. "And let's make sure they know we fight for more than just ourselves." The enemy fleet appeared from behind the asteroid belt, a massive wall of dark ships, weapons glowing like fire in the void. The alien fleet, though ready, tensed at the sight. The humans had taught them to fight, but this enemy was larger and more organized than before. "Hold your positions," Cora commanded. "Do not fire until the humans give the signal. Follow their lead but stay alive. Every ship matters." Morgan's ship darted forward, signaling the start of the fight. He moved unpredictably, weaving through the enemy formation. His small fighter struck the first wave, destroying the lead cruiser and forcing the others to scatter. The aliens followed the humans' lead, moving in new patterns, striking at weak points, and protecting their own ships. Laura Bennett guided a damaged alien cruiser out of the path of a massive enemy battleship. Her small fighter twisted and turned, dodging fire that would have destroyed much larger vessels. The alien crew stared in amazement. Humans were not just skilled, they were fearless. Cora's heart raced. She had never seen anything like this. The humans' tactics were unlike any in her training or experience. They were flexible, fast, and bold. They did not wait for orders, did not follow standard formations. Instead, they acted based on instinct, courage, and intelligence. Vex leaned toward her. "They are incredible. The fleet may survive because of them, but we have to hope the aliens are fast learners. Can we trust them to coordinate under such pressure?" Cora shook her head. "We have no choice. Trust them. Watch them. Learn. Adapt. That is all we can do." The enemy fired relentlessly. Massive beams cut through space, exploding small ships and damaging cruisers. The alien fleet had improved, but the enemy was ruthless. This was no longer just a fight. It was a test of endurance, courage, and strategy. Morgan dove into the enemy formation, dodging energy beams. His fighters fired precise shots, hitting engines, shields, and weapon systems. The enemy was strong, but they could not anticipate the humans' bold moves. Every attack caused confusion, forcing enemy ships to split their focus. Laura Bennett and Sarah Miller led smaller waves, hitting multiple targets. They guided damaged alien vessels to safety and redirected attacks toward enemy weak points. Slowly, the aliens began to move with confidence. They were learning not only to survive, but to fight as a coordinated force with the humans. Engineer John Carter worked tirelessly on the human command ship. Sparks flew from damaged panels as he rerouted energy to stabilize shields and weapons. He had no time to rest. Every second counted. Morgan shouted over the comms, Carter, keep us in the fight. We can't let them take control of this sector. Yes, Commander, Carter replied, his hands moving rapidly. Shields stable, weapons ready. The enemy commander, seeing the humans' actions, realized their mistake. Humans were not like any other species. They did not fight predictably. They did not care for personal safety in the way other races did. They acted for others, for the survival of those around them. The enemy tried to isolate the humans, sending fast attack ships to trap them. But Morgan and his pilots were prepared. They led the enemy into ambushes, where alien cruisers, now trained to follow human tactics, attacked from multiple angles. The enemy ships were caught off guard. Explosions rocked the battlefield as ships collided and weapons misfired. In the center of the battle, Cora's flagship was targeted by a massive cruiser. The hull shook from heavy fire. Shields flared and alarms screamed. Cora remained calm. Focus fire on the engines, she ordered. Do not panic. Follow the humans' maneuvers. A small human fighter, piloted by Laura Bennett, darted in front of the massive cruiser. She fired at its engines, then moved behind it to hit the control systems. The cruiser staggered, losing control, and collided with another enemy ship. Cora could not believe the precision of such a small vessel. Unbelievable, she whispered. They are small, but their impact is enormous. The alien fleet began to move in perfect synchronization with the humans. They attacked from all sides, striking weak points, protecting each other, and creating confusion in the enemy ranks. Slowly, the tide of battle turned. Morgan guided a damaged alien cruiser out of danger, dodging missiles and energy beams. Keep moving, he called. Do not stop. The enemy is losing focus. Sarah Miller followed him, hitting an enemy frigate with precise shots. The enemy formation collapsed and panic spread among their ships. Vex turned to Cora, eyes wide with astonishment. Admiral, they are doing it again. Humans have not only saved us, they have taught us to fight, Cora nodded. Yes, but this battle is not over. The enemy will try to regroup. We must be ready for their next move. The enemy, realizing they were being defeated, sent their fastest ships in a desperate attack on the human command ship. Morgan saw them approaching. Hold your positions, he shouted. We are not backing down. Laura Bennett and Sarah Miller engaged the enemy ships, dodging fire and striking back with deadly precision. One enemy ship fired directly at Morgan's command vessel. He twisted his fighter, dodging the attack, then fired a burst that destroyed the enemy ship. The alien fleet, seeing the humans' courage, pushed forward. They fired in perfect coordination, striking the enemy from multiple directions. Enemy ships were destroyed, one after another. The battle was long, brutal, and exhausting, but slowly, the enemy was forced to retreat. Cora watched the enemy ships flee. Relief washed over her, but she knew this was only one battle. The enemy was stronger than before and would return. But now, the alien fleet had something they had never had before: knowledge, courage, and the will to survive. They had humans as allies, and the humans had shown them that no battle was truly lost if they fought together. Morgan's ship returned to the flagship. He saluted Cora, who returned the gesture. You have done well, Cora said. Without you, this fleet would have been destroyed. Morgan shook his head. We only showed them how to fight. The aliens did the rest. They learned quickly. They are strong, brave, and ready for whatever comes next. Cora smiled faintly. Yes, and they will remember this. Humanity has arrived in our sector and they have changed everything. Today, we survived. Tomorrow, we will face new challenges, but now we know we can fight together. The human fighters checked their ships, repairing minor damage. Pilots shared stories of near misses, successful strikes, and moments where courage had turned the tide. The aliens watched in awe, realizing that humans were not just allies, they were legends in the making. The battle had tested both humans and aliens, but it had also united them. Humans had risked everything to protect a fleet they did not know, and aliens had adapted quickly, learning skills that would keep them alive in future conflicts. Cora stood on the bridge, looking at the stars beyond the fleet. She knew the enemy would return, stronger and more determined. But now the alien fleet had hope, and hope was stronger than any weapon. Morgan and his pilots prepared to patrol the area, ready to defend the fleet at a moment's notice. Humans had arrived in the sector, not to conquer, but to fight alongside those in need. They had shown the aliens that courage, intelligence, and the willingness to risk everything for others could change the outcome of any battle. The fleet moved forward, united, ready for whatever lay ahead. The humans had arrived, and in doing so, they had given the alien fleet something far greater than victory: the knowledge that no enemy could defeat those who fought together with courage and hope. The stars stretched endlessly before them, and in that vast darkness, the humans and the aliens sailed together, prepared to face the galaxy as one. The alien fleet had survived another attack. Fires were out, shields repaired, and soldiers moved with determination. But Admiral Cora knew that the enemy would not give up easily. They had lost too many ships already, and their pride would not allow them to retreat forever. "Admiral," Vex said, his voice tense, "we have detected a massive enemy fleet approaching from the outer sector. They are larger than any force we have seen before. They have learned from their previous mistakes. This may be the final attack." Cora's gray eyes narrowed. She looked out of the viewport at the dark stars ahead. "Prepare the fleet," she said quietly. "Every ship, every soldier, every fighter must be ready. This battle will test everything we have learned. This is our moment." Commander Alex Morgan watched from his small human ship. He had flown through countless battles, but even he felt a chill at the sight of the massive enemy fleet. "Laura, Sarah," he said to his fellow pilots, "this is the big one. We cannot let them destroy the fleet. We have trained, we have fought, and we have survived. Now we must lead." Laura Bennett nodded, gripping her controls. "We can do this. We know their patterns now. Let's show them what humans and our allies can do." Sarah Miller adjusted her targeting systems. "And let's make sure the aliens understand what teamwork really means. They have learned a lot, but now they will see it in action." Cora activated the fleet's comm system. "All ships prepare for battle, follow the humans' lead, adapt quickly, move as one, and protect each other. Today, we fight not only for survival, but for our honor and the lives of those who cannot fight." The enemy fleet emerged from the void. Thousands of ships moved like a black storm, their weapons glowing with deadly energy. The alien fleet tensed, but the humans remained calm. Morgan's ship darted forward, signaling the start of the engagement. The humans moved first, small and fast, striking key enemy ships, drawing them into traps and guiding alien cruisers to advantageous positions. The enemy fired relentlessly, but the humans' movements were unpredictable. They twisted and turned, dodging massive energy beams, striking at engines, shields, and weapon systems. "Keep moving," Morgan shouted over the comms. "We cannot let them focus on any one of us. Spread them out and protect the fleet." Laura Bennett guided a damaged alien cruiser through a narrow gap between enemy destroyers. She fired at the engines of one, causing it to collide with another enemy ship. The alien crew stared in amazement, seeing humans sacrifice safety to save their lives. Sarah Miller led another wave, targeting enemy frigates while protecting alien ships. Her small fighter weaved through the battlefield like a shadow, striking key points and retreating before the enemy could respond. The alien fleet, inspired by the humans, pushed forward in coordinated attacks, hitting the enemy from multiple sides. Cora watched from her flagship. "They are incredible," she whispered. "Humans fight not for themselves, but for others. That is their true strength." Vex shook his head in disbelief. "I have never seen such skill and courage. They are changing the outcome of this battle entirely." The enemy, frustrated by repeated losses, sent their largest battleships toward the human command ship. They hoped to crush the humans and demoralize the alien fleet. Morgan saw the incoming ships. "Laura, Sarah, cover me. I will lead them into the trap." The human pilots darted in front of the massive battleships, drawing their fire. Lasers and missiles struck, but the humans twisted and dodged with impossible speed. One human ship fired at an enemy engine, causing it to fail. Another hit the control systems, making the massive ship collide with its own fleet. The alien fleet, now fully coordinated with the humans, struck at the disorganized enemy ships. Cruisers fired from multiple directions, destroying enemy vessels one after another. The enemy could not recover. Chaos spread through their ranks. Cora's flagship shook from near hits, but her soldiers remained steady. "Focus fire on the enemy leader," she commanded. "Take down the command ship and the rest will falter." Morgan maneuvered his ship to guide the alien fleet's fire. "Now, fire at the central battleship," he shouted. Alien cruisers targeted the enemy leader, striking weak points, firing at engines, shields, and weapons simultaneously. Explosions rocked the massive ship, and it began to spin uncontrollably. With a final coordinated strike, the enemy command ship was destroyed. The remaining enemy ships, seeing their leader fall, began to retreat in disarray. The alien fleet, guided by humans, pressed forward, ensuring no vessel escaped. Cora exhaled slowly. The battle was over. The enemy had been defeated and the alien fleet had survived, stronger than ever. Morgan returned to the flagship, his ship battered but intact. He saluted Cora, who returned the gesture. "You and your people have done more than we could imagine," Cora said. "Without you, we would have been destroyed. With you, we have survived and learned to fight in ways we never knew." Morgan shook his head. "We only showed the way." The aliens fought bravely and adapted quickly. Humanity helped, but the fleet survived because of your courage and willingness to learn. Laura Bennett and Sarah Miller joined him on the bridge. "We did what we could," Laura said, "but the aliens, they are ready now. They have learned much and they will be stronger than ever." Cora looked at her fleet, seeing pilots repairing ships, soldiers cheering, and engineers working tirelessly. "Yes, humanity has given us more than victory. They have given us hope, courage, and knowledge. We are no longer just survivors, we are fighters." The alien soldiers, once doubtful of humans, now whispered in admiration. They could not understand all the humans' ways, but they understood bravery, skill, and selflessness. Humans fought not for glory, but for others. That was a lesson the aliens would never forget. Vex turned to Cora. "Admiral, humans are remarkable. They are small, yet their impact is enormous. They have changed the way we fight, the way we survive, and the way we think." Cora nodded. "Yes, Vex, and we must remember this. The galaxy has underestimated humans for too long. We have seen what they can do. We have seen their courage, their intelligence, and their strength. We will never forget it." Morgan addressed the fleet over comms. "All ships, prepare for repairs and resupply. The battle is over, but we must remain vigilant. This victory is important, but the galaxy is vast and threats are everywhere. We will be ready together." The alien fleet moved together, humans and aliens alike. Pilots shared strategies, soldiers exchanged stories of bravery, and engineers worked side by side. The humans had arrived not to conquer, but to fight for life, to teach courage, and to protect those who could not protect themselves. Cora walked across her bridge, feeling pride and awe. "Today, humans have shown us a truth long forgotten. Strength is not only in numbers or weapons, but in courage, heart, and unity. They have taught us that survival is possible, even against overwhelming odds." Morgan smiled. "And they have taught the galaxy that humans will not stand aside. We fight for others, even when the odds are against us. That is what makes humanity strong." Laura Bennett looked at the stars. "We came here to help, but we learned something too. The aliens are brave, skilled, and capable. Together, we are unstoppable." Sarah Miller nodded. "Yes, we fight differently, but we fight for the same reason, to protect life, to survive, to hope." Cora turned back to the viewport. The stars stretched endlessly before them, silent witnesses to the battle that had just been fought. The alien fleet had survived impossible odds, guided and inspired by humans who refused to give up. The fleet would continue to patrol the sector, repair their ships, and prepare for whatever challenges the galaxy would send next. But one thing was certain: the humans had arrived, and their presence had changed everything. Admiral Cora felt a deep sense of gratitude. She had seen the impossible become possible. She had seen courage that could not be measured by size or strength. And she had learned that even the smallest allies could have the greatest impact. Morgan, Laura, and Sarah looked at the alien fleet, seeing ships rise stronger, pilots move with confidence, and soldiers smile with hope. Humanity had arrived, and the galaxy would never forget their courage, skill, and selflessness. The enemy had been defeated, the fleet had survived, and the humans had proven that their strength was not just in their weapons but in their heart. As the stars continued to shine, Cora spoke softly, almost to herself. "Today we are alive. Tomorrow we will be stronger. And the galaxy will remember the day humans arrived to fight with us." Morgan replied over the comms, "And we will continue to fight wherever we are needed. Humanity does not stand by when others are in danger. That is our way." Laura Bennett and Sarah Miller smiled. They had faced impossible odds, saved lives, and inspired an entire fleet. The humans had done more than fight. They had shown the galaxy what it truly meant to be strong. The alien fleet moved forward, united, repaired, and ready. Humans had arrived, not as conquerors, but as allies, teachers, and heroes, and their story would be told across the stars for cycles to come. The galaxy had witnessed a new kind of strength, a strength that could not be measured by numbers, speed, or firepower. A strength born from courage, unity, and the willingness to fight for others. The humans had arrived, and in doing so, they had changed the fate of an entire alien fleet. For the first time in cycles, Admiral Cora felt certain of one thing: humanity was not to be underestimated. Not ever. The stars stretched before them, endless and silent. But the universe now knew the truth. When humanity fights, hope survives. And hope was a weapon more powerful than any fleet, more unstoppable than any enemy, and more enduring than any star.